Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Austin Clark here, host of the Multiply You podcast. Really excited to have Jodi on today. She is running a fantastic pest control shop with her husband out of Reno, Nevada. And they've been doing it for the last 5-6 years now and just have been having a lot of success and a lot of the same challenges and problems that all of us are having as it relates to maybe the seasonality, maybe employee churn, and just kind of figuring out what the new normal is in this new environment since the pandemic and post-pandemic. And this is kind of where we are. So excited to be able to introduce her here in just a moment. This episode, as they all are, it's brought to you by my company, Moxie Pest Control. We're a national company. We're growing. We're opening 2 new branches or so, probably a year. Part of the way that we're growing our top line revenue is a lot of the same ways that you're doing it with search engine optimization. Maybe you're doing pay-per-click campaigns. Maybe you're doing mailers. Maybe you're running a direct sales force. But one of the ways that we've been doing it has been via acquisition. And so if you are out there with 3, 4, 5+ trucks on the road and one of the markets that you see that we operate in, and you're kind of staring down the barrel of another summer and thinking, do I want to do this or do I not want to do this? Definitely do it if it makes sense for you. But if not, or as you start to think about the future and what the exit goal is or exit plan is, consider us, consider Moxie, and I'd love to have those conversations with you. You can call me or text me directly on my cell, and that's 480-254-9730, or you can email me directly at clark@moxiepestcontrol.com. Like I said, I've got Jodi Ashby here today. She's been very generous with her time already and very appreciative of her being on the show. Like I said, she runs Truckee Meadows Pest Control. She's run it for nearly 6 years now with her husband. And part of the way that they have grown and scaled their business, and one of the keys that they attribute their success to, has been being very active in the community. So I'm excited to talk with her more about that. Jodi, how are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Of course. Thank you. So we talked a little bit before. You didn't always do pest control, from a young age. You actually had a previous life and a previous career as a real estate agent. And so maybe back us up a little bit and let us know a little bit of your background and story.
Yeah, so my background actually started in property management. I managed apartment complexes, all kinds. So like Section 42, Section 8, and just regular conventional properties. And then I started in real estate in 2008, right at the perfect time for realtors.
Wow. How was that? What was that like?
It was awful. It was awful, but I was new and I was eager, and short sales were the thing. And people who were experienced in real estate said, short sales aren't going to last. So they handed it all to me. So I got a lot of business right away, a lot of work. It was a lot of work. And it was fun. And I really enjoyed it.
And it's kind of nice having that blank sheet of paper, kind of not, like you said, you were ambitious and hungry and didn't really know any better. And so, someone that was a little more seasoned perhaps may have been like doom and gloom and like, oh, I'm not going to be able to sell anything to anyone. And how fortunate that you were able to take all that short sale business because it wasn't going to last.
I mean, it was hard work, and they were just like, this isn't going to last. So I became the expert very quickly, and people were coming to me for questions on how to get short sales closed. And then it became like a thing that everything was a short sale. So it was interesting, but it was fun.
So went into doing that in 2008 and did that up until 2017 or so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my husband worked for Orkin during that time. And in 2013, they transferred us to Colorado Springs. So go to Colorado Springs. And I've got my real estate license in Colorado. And then we were in Colorado Springs for 2 years, and then Orkin then transferred us to Sacramento. And I got my license in California. So I'm licensed in 3 states for real estate. And then in California, things just changed with like Orkin and their hierarchy, and it wasn't really working out for my husband. And so I said, let's go back home. Let's go back to Reno. We'll start our own business. We can do it better. And I'll hang up my license and I'll answer the phones and you can go kill the bugs. And so we did. And that was almost 6 years ago. So that was 2017. And, I took that first phone call, and Chris went and sold the first account. And then here we are 6 years later, we have 5 routes. We're, considered one of the best pest control companies in Reno, as voted by, by the people. And it's been a fun ride. It's really been exciting. We never planned on staying a small mom and pop shop. We always wanted to grow and be big and compete with the Orkins and the Terminex and, not the other mom and pops. We wanted to compete with the bigger national companies. So
was that a scary thing to go from, secure salary, kind of doing what you'd always done? I mean, there were certainly decisions that led up to, that jumping point, but what were some of those that made you guys say, hey, let's do this and we can do it. And we're just going to do it.
Yeah, that was legitimately a crazy, crazy thing, because we bought the house in Reno before he quit his job at Orkin. So now we have this whole house payment, and we took the whole 401k and we started with that as our seed money, and we burned the ships. Like there was no going back to anything else. And so it was either succeed or nothing. So that was what we did every day. We're like, let's go. We're just going to grind it out and we're going to make this happen. So we burned the ships.
And it seemed like it worked very well. So I think as I talked to a lot of people, I mean, their best case scenario is, hey, if we can add a route a year, we're really happy with that. Most people don't. You guys have. And so what do you think sets you apart? Or, everyone wants to do what you've done, but not very many people do. And so why do you think that's worked for you and maybe not for others? And maybe this is where we get into some of the community involvement, but how do you feel you've been able to grow? And by the way, in a pretty good economy leading up to 2020.
Right.
And then depending what kind of pest control you're in, or the residential or commercial, some of those companies are booming and some of them are hurting, but those were some pretty nasty storms to weather for a smaller company that didn't have reserves or funds or, those kinds of things. And so how would you say, Jodi, you guys did it?
So, we actually grew pretty fast before COVID. So I think we were at 4 routes when COVID hit, and that 2020 was the first year that we didn't grow. We just maintained. And so it's been, so then 2021, trying to get back, we're still kind of maintaining, but we finally were able to kind of get everything going back. But it took a while for people to just kind of be like, okay, we're going to be okay. Everything's fine. And
people were worried about where they would get toilet paper and water and groceries, right? Let alone if they were going to be able to afford their pest control person or pool person.
Yeah. And that took a while to kind of just come back on that residential side and even the commercial side, because the commercial people, they're all dealing with the same cost increases and price increases that we're dealing with. So, their pest control is the very bottom of their list, even though in a restaurant, it shouldn't be. But, they're trying to deal with their costs as well. So I think we're finally getting back into a spot where we can have that massive growth again.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit that, I mean, a lot of that growth then 2017 to 2020. So a lot of that happened in the first 3 years of business. What were some of the activities that you guys participate in? Are you able to share some of, not like your trade secrets or secrets, but some of your marketing mix? I mean, what did it?
We joined a BNI, which we joined a good BNI, and we participated, fully in that. And for the first couple of years, I mean, they attributed like 50% of our business. So it was a good group to be in. And then just joining all of the associations. So the apartment association, the builders association, the property managers association, the landscape association. So joining all of these associations that do business with people who do business with the association. So we pretty much sponsored every golf tournament that came along. We got a big tent that, so our marketing material was big and flashy, and we were fun when people would come to our hole, and it was selling, like, hey, have you heard of Truckee Meadows Pest Control? The first year, no. And now when we do these golf tournaments, it's yes, we've heard of you. And I'm like, okay, so who uses us? So then it's turned into, now most of the people are coming through now use us. So it's just being in the community, sponsoring these things, doing charitable events. And, when people see you and they associate your face with your company name, it's so much easier. You don't even have to sell your business. They want what you have. So it's been fun. Like, we did it fun. Right. So, and we also did radio for a little while. We don't do radio anymore. We do have TV commercials. And those are fun. And then we do a lot of SEO, and we try to do a lot on internet. We're not super social media. I need to find a social media person. But we do try to keep that web presence pretty big.
So how do you think, Jodi, your background, or what do you say that your background in real estate and HOAs and multifamily and property management, has that helped you run your pest control company? Or do you think that that's given you a certain type of advantage that someone who doesn't have that previous experience may not have?
I think so. I say, like, I've always dealt with people in their homes. So, pest control is in your home, and I've always dealt with people in their homes. So I do think that it does have a good, it's very cohesive, like it comes together well. And especially when we're trying to sell apartment complex or HOAs or things like that, I can say, like, I totally understand. I get it. Like, I can speak their lingo. I know what's going on, and it makes them more comfortable with, having us as their provider, because I know what they have to deal with. So that is kind of a little ace up the sleeve or whatever when that happens. So we do have quite a few complexes. We deal with a lot of HOAs, and the relationships that I built in those fields also are, clients of ours now. So it really, really did help out.
So it sounds also like the first couple of years, you guys were pretty aggressive in your marketing and your marketing spend. How does a brand new company with zero trucks and zero customers and you know what I mean? Did you guys have a strategy in place that you knew was going to work and say, hey, look, if we take this $5,000, sponsor this thing, buy them all lunch at this, we're gonna get that and then some out of it? Or what made you guys decide to go hard that direction? And then how does a company that's a startup fund something like that?
So very carefully. So, you start out with the lower, golf course, like golf tournaments, like some of them are $1,700, but some of them are only $250. So, you just get out and you just make the best of your little budget that you have. And then, you can get a big account from that, and then you can grow your budget, and then you can get a big account from that, and then you grow your budget. We want to make sure that we were a household name in Reno, and that when people thought pest control, they thought Truckee Meadows Pest Control. So we invested, I think it was $2,400 into a jingle. So we have a jingle, which is so cute for us. It goes on our commercials. It goes on our old radio. We don't do radio anymore. It's on our hold music. So we just really wanted everybody, when they think pest control, to think Truckee Meadows Pest Control. So we just try to be everywhere when things are happening.
I love that. Because again, like we talked about before, so many people want to, have all the trucks on the road and to be able to grow and grow rapidly, and then obviously to be profitable. And so for you guys to do what you've done inside of the first 3 years of business with the budget that you guys had, yeah, it does sound like you used it very carefully and maximized every single dollar. Anything else as it relates to advertising or marketing before maybe we move on, other than some of the, jingle, like you said, and golf tournaments and joining those associations? The associations is a great idea. It's not just the pest association. Like, who needs pest control, right? And then you go join them.
Yeah, it's not just joining the association and like expecting to get business, but it's also joining the boards and the committees and being involved and being seen and showing up. So I know a lot of people like, I joined that and I never got anything from it. Well, you probably never put anything into it either. So those are like, we just really try, my office girls, they're on committees, so we try to spread people out and just be there for the community.
Very cool. Let's talk a little bit about employees. You probably in the last 5-6 years seen your fair share, but it doesn't probably matter how good or how whatever you are running a business. COVID probably helped with some of the churn and some of the turnover. What are some of the things that you've done to find or attract, hire, retain top talent? And then also, I mean, how do you feel like you guys are doing with that, holistically or overall?
It's been a struggle, and I don't think there's any, we've been lucky with what we've come across. I think our reputation is really good in our community. So technicians from other companies, when they're unhappy with what they're doing, they come walk in our door and see if we're hiring, which that's a bonus because, someone who's already trained is like gold, right? And then we try to get our staff who we trust and ask them if they have other people who are, friends who are like them, who are looking for a job, or, who would be a good fit with pest control. We've tried Indeed, and Facebook actually has been the number one recruitment tool for people who actually show up to the interview. That's been a super challenge. And I think I hope we're past that, because a lot of the time we were setting up interviews and then no show interviews. And then we would hire people and then they would no show on their first day. That was really frustrating for the last 2 years. But I think I hope we've moved past that point for now. But for the most part, it
seems like things are getting a little bit better. It seems like people are getting a little bit more, not back to what it was, but a little bit more serious about work. I think that, maybe hints of a recession are keeping people a little bit more bought into what they're doing and like, hey, I should take advantage of this opportunity. And, at the end of the day, if you're treating people well, giving them a fair shake, compensating them well, that already puts you head and shoulders above not just the pest competition, but just the competition in general, because I think people have also been burned in a way of being employees, of just how they've been treated.
Yeah, it's true. And we don't have a ton of turnover with our guys. But I think everything has been just kind of working out as, if we have somebody who's not really fitting into the team, they kind of phase themselves out. And then luckily we've had somebody kind of in the wings or even in training. But we just can't get that extra person, that start tech. So as soon as we get a start tech trained, then somebody else is gone or something happens. It's been interesting. I really, really would love to be fully staffed. I thought we were going to be overstaffed coming into this spring, and now we got to look for another guy. It's just been, it's always a juggling game. You can never really count on it. Right.
Yep. Right when you think things are right and properly staffed or even overstaffed, something happens and you're like, back at it.
Yeah. And it's just the tolerance that you have with employees is different than you would ever have, in the past. So you allow, calling in sick more often or coming in late, and, you don't really write them up as you would, or as you would have treated them in the past before COVID. And it's really weird. It's interesting, the new workforce that we have, that that we have to tolerate, and it's not fun as an employer.
Everyone's adjusting.
Yeah, it's different. It's just like, if I would have done this when I started my job, I would have been fired so quick.
You'd have been fired before you walked in the door.
Yep, but there's a lot more tolerance now, and what do? You just, if you don't, I don't want to go out and run around, right? So, you just kind of allow it to happen. So,
yeah. Well, as we kind of transition into the final piece of what we'll talk about, when we were speaking before, I know you're really passionate about this, but we got talking about your nonprofit that you guys just recently launched and some of the good that is doing. And I think it was so, observant of you to kind of see what was happening or what was going on. But tell everyone about your nonprofit and what it does, who it serves, and kind of how that idea was born.
So our nonprofit is called the Bedbug Relief Foundation, and it is we have a 4-pillar approach that we have for this. And the first one is starting a conversation, having people talk about bed bugs, because nobody wants to talk about bed bugs. Nobody wants to talk about bed bugs, especially the health department, the city, the state. Like, nobody wants to talk about bed bugs, and people who have bed bugs don't want to tell anybody that they have bed bugs. So we're trying to remove that stigma of you're dirty, that, like, we're trying to just remove that stigma. Our second thing is education. So getting people educated on what to do when you get bed bugs, how you get bed bugs, why you get bed bugs, what happened, how fast they can multiply, why not to do it yourself, or if you want to do it yourself, like the correct way to do it yourself, because it takes a lot of work and a lot of people just aren't up for that. And then our third thing is giving financial support to people who can't afford the service. So bed bugs can cost a lot to exterminate, and a lot of the time the people who get the bed bugs don't have extra funds to actually do the service. So that's why they end up living with them. They don't spread disease. They're just nuisance. And that's, I think, the biggest thing and the saddest thing is that people don't think they're a threat or a problem because they don't spread disease. But like the mental illness that you get from having bed bugs, the isolation you have when I can't have people come over to my house because I have bed bugs, or, like you're just, it's totally mental. And then our fourth thing is kind of wraparound resources. So other nonprofits in the community that might be able to help. Right now, we just went to a gentleman's house. He's 81 years old. He's a veteran. The VA called us because the VA needs help with bed bugs. So, because there's no other programs anywhere for this. We went to this gentleman's house. He's had bed bugs for 5 years.
Oh my goodness.
Worst ever infestation my husband and my service manager have ever seen, and they've been doing this for 10 plus years each. The house had very little running water. Their toilets don't flush. They have to like plunge their toilet. So to help this person, there's going to be a lot more people that need to get involved to actually help these people be able to live the rest of the short amount of life they have left without being terrorized by bed bugs all day, all night. I mean, they're out. They opened the door and the bed bugs were crawling on the baseboards at the front door. So,
wow.
If you have any idea of what bed bug, like when that happens, that's a
normally not the first place you see them.
Right. So, working with the VA, we're going to probably try to find a plumber. We're probably going to have to take these people somewhere else while we do this. We do heat treatments with a heat trailer, which is probably not going to work either. We're probably going to have to find somebody to fume the home. So, and these people are just helpless. They can't, so these are the people that we want to help: our seniors, our vets, our underserviced, our underserved. Last year in the news, an Amazon facility was shut down because of a bed bug infestation.
I remember that.
3 or 4 libraries are being shut down because of bed bug infestation. Schools are being closed because of bed bug infestations. And those are the places you can't fix the problem unless you fix it at somebody's home. So we're trying to just get to those sources and help this, and let's try and stop the spread of bed bugs and the shame, the guilt, the stigma. Let's just get it to where if you get a bed bug, it's just like ants or something. Like, I need to call an exterminator and let's just get it taken care of.
Well, and I think that that's the thing, Jodi, that I love. I mean, obviously, aside from actually helping these people that may not be in a situation that can help themselves, but that you guys are removing that stigma. Hey, look, because you have bed bugs, that does not, it means you have bed bugs. It doesn't mean you're rich or poor or live in a big house or a small house, or you're dirty or clean. Kind of like you said earlier, they don't discriminate. They don't know if you're married or single, or what race you are, or what town you live in. Like they don't care, right? They're interested in everybody, and anybody at any time can get them, especially because of how they travel and hop and that sort of thing. Well, I think that's really neat what you guys are doing, and I hope that you garner just much more support, just like you did in the early days of your business, of getting out there. And at first, no one may know about this nonprofit that you guys have started, and then fast forward a year or two, and everyone does, and then fast forward another year or two, and everyone's donated $10 or $50 or $100, and you've got this fund where you can go and hire the plumber and put someone up in a hotel for a night and buy a brand new rig to be able to do chemical treatments rather than heat, and so on and so on. And so that is just incredible. I want to, Jodi, as we round this out now, I want to give you the last word. What are some pieces of advice that you might have for people that are either listening to this now or might listen to it in the future, of them kind of taking that step to go and do their own thing, if they've thought about it, or if they're in a job where they're like, I think that I might be able to do this a little bit better on my own? What advice would you share with them?
This is, I don't know, kind of a weird advice. We just started doing a profit first. So read the book, Profit First. Run your business within your means. So you take your profit first, make sure you're read the book. But it really just helps cut the fat, cut all the unnecessary spending. And then you're going to run a successful business. And even if you don't decide to read the book, but just spend within your means and make sure that you're not kind of just getting in over your head with your spending. And that's number one. So try to do everything with a budget, with pay attention to your finances. And that's going to be the number one thing.
Great advice. I wish I would have read that 10 years ago. When I started, I probably would have more profits. Well, Jodi, thank you so much. Thank you again for your time. Everybody, thank you for patching in. If people want to, Jodi, continue the conversation, what is the best way for them to reach you? Are you active on LinkedIn, or what's the best way for them to learn more about you, your nonprofit, your company?
So it's Truckee Meadows Pest Control. We are on LinkedIn and Facebook, or tmpestcontrol.com. You can just shoot us a quick message through our chat. And then it's the Bedbug Relief Foundation, and it's bedbugfoundation.com. You can take a look at what we're doing there. We're just getting started. So you can see just now we have our ribbon cutting, and now we have our fundraiser. So we would love to actually have this go possibly nationwide, because we can't find anything anywhere else. And so we'd love to help more people than just Nevada or Northern Nevada. So we're hoping to see this grow, and so if you'd like to get involved or do something like this similar in your area, let me know, because we'd love to help you out. And then I'm on Facebook, Jodi Ashby. I'm on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to have a conversation with anybody.
I love that. Jodi, thanks again for your time. Thank you, everybody who's patched into this, and for your comments, and for subscribing, and all of the rest of that. These are dropping every Thursday. And so until the next one, create a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.